All right, New Orleans, welcome to the Jack Clegg Show. This is the Thursday morning edition. You're listening to WGSO 990 AM and WGSO.com's audio podcast, and you're listening to and watching on YouTube, which you can subscribe to. And I think you automatically get $100 million from YouTube. They send you a check for $100 million if you subscribe, or some other kind of foolishness. I don't know. But anyway, a lot to talk about today. Boy, there's so much in the news coming from all different angles. And we've got one administration that's leaving, one new one that's coming out. The old administration is trying to upset and create havoc with the new administration, and particularly their choices to run various agencies. The election, which I call, and I've invented a new word. What was the election? Nothing more than a trumping. It was a trumping of the Democrats. I like the way that sounds. Okay, today we're going to talk about three topics, if we get to them, hopefully. The first one is lessons learned from the trumping, okay? And we're going to talk about how the Democrats are reacting. So I don't have to tell you how they're reacting. We've got their own words. And we're going to talk about that as one. Number two, we're going to talk about the global busybodies and how they're trying to spend your money and my money to do something that we're not even sure they ought to do. But what's really funny is, specifically, we will talk about the UN Climate Change Conference. Okay, they're not really going into the details of what climate change, whether it's caused, what its effects are, et cetera, et cetera. This one is about, or the sticking point right now, is how much money the Western countries will give the developing countries to spend. What? Yeah. The excuse for this is climate change. And it's just, it is a worldwide scale, what we do here in the United States, pouring money, your tax dollars, into subsidies and grants. These are grants, or you give someone money and they don't have to pay it back, different than a loan, to advocate for and build solar, wind, so forth and so on. When we have natural gas and other means that are essentially clean, and the problems we're having with that on a global scale, we're going to talk about that. And thirdly, we're going to talk about this is a combination of several of the effects that are going on, but I call it Greg Abbott is my man. And this is, I really like our Governor Landry, and he's come off to a good start. By the way, on that point, remember a district judge in Baton Rouge ruled that the 10 Commandments was unconstitutional. That is, posting the 10 Commandments in public schools so kids had to look at them was unconstitutional. That was appealed to the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. They did not rule yet, except they gave a specific rule which comes into place. That Louisiana law was supposed to take place on January 1st. All public schools were supposed to have that. The Fifth Circuit ruled that January 1st date is gone. That because the court below found it was unconstitutional, they're going to take a hands-off approach, which means the law is not going to be allowed to be imposed on public schools on January 1. So that won't happen. That is not a final decision on the case, but it is a temporary one. So that's kind of a, but we're going to talk about Greg Abbott. But before we get that, let's talk about the first effect of the trumping. And we've got a clip to play here. Yes, go ahead and play that clip right now. Okay.
What you're going to see is a huge divide over people who are college educated and not college educated. And if that is the case, What is different is that you could be seeing a realignment about the base of each party. And there are warning signs for everybody here. But if the working class, non-college educated voter is now increasingly a Republican voter, Democrats have to rethink the way in which they sell their policies that absolutely benefit working class Americans and in a targeted fashion. But, you know, I was in Saginaw, Michigan at a union hall, and these union voters who are working on infrastructure act jobs that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris literally created for them did not know who they were going to go vote for. And that, to me, suggests that the Democratic Party needs to do a much better job of selling its achievements to working class voters. And working class voters also need to be more engaged in understanding the chasm that separates these two parties in terms of policy.
Okay. All right. What she just said, this was an anchor on MSNBC. I'm not even going to mention her name because it doesn't deserve it. This is what we call a pants on fire situation. What's that? Remember when we were little, liar, liar, pants on fire? That was a pants on fire. That woman literally said, let me start before I get into destroying what she said and the insincerity and wrongness of what she said. Okay, the government, our government, no matter who the president happens to be, who the politicians happen to be, the government has a very few functions. What's the government's function? To defend us. If we get attacked by a foreign country, we have a military. The government has to keep up that military, and it does so. It's a function. It's not because the president at that time is trying to protect any political parties or groups of people. It's a function of the government, okay? Another function of the government is transportation. We have 50 states. The way it works here, okay, all the states should be considered equally or as equally as they can be. And we have roads, and we have bridges, and we have all sorts of things, streets, where the infrastructure bill that knucklehead was talking about a while ago, she said that infrastructure bill was designed to give jobs to union workers. I really, that's what she said. We just heard her say it. No, that is a core function of the government. When you got bridges that are 30 years old, 40 years old, when you got highways that are breaking apart, the government's function is doing that. For that woman to say that Biden and Harris did this to benefit union workers in Saginaw, Michigan, I wish she was a drug addict, because at least I could blame the drugs, because that is so wrong. It is so wrong. Okay, well, when Harris and Biden, either through silence or direct support, were in favor of defunding the police, who was that done for? Who did they do that for? I mean, follow this woman's logic. There must have been somebody they did it for. Was it for criminals? Who was that for? So this is the effect of the Trumping. And that is, Democrats and these liberals are trying to figure out what's happening, but they're really exposing themselves as the liars and manipulators. No one believes that an infrastructure bill is designed for union workers. That's not what it's there for. That's not at all what it's there for. It's for Americans. So for her to blame union workers for not voting, silly. All right, we're going to take a break and come back with more of the Jack Clegg Show in a minute.
Hi, I'm Huck, an active Christian who loves Louisiana. One of my goals is to bring Louisiana's education from 50th to number 1.
And I'm Dave. I'm not afraid of government bureaucrats. I fear God. Our rights and freedoms come from Him.
This is Liberty or Lockdown. Please join us on Thursdays at 5 p.m. on WGSO 990 AM and WGSO.com.
Yo, what's up, New Orleans? This is The Whistle.
And I'm Jay.
Join us every Thursday at 4 p.m. on WGSO AM 990.
And around the world, www.wgso.com.
For Only Good Vibes News Network, your source for positive information.
We're bringing you good news and good vibes.
Every Thursday at 4 p.m. on 990 AM WGSO New Orleans.
And streaming around the world on all your favorite devices at WGSO.com.
Tune in to Chew on This, Saturdays at noon on WGSO. Tell us what you're cooking or ask us how to cook it with Don Clement and Patty B. We'll share recipes, cooking techniques, everything from sous vide to grilling. Got a favorite kitchen gadget? Let us know about it. Your grandma's secret sauce? Now we're talking. Tips from home cooks for gourmet cooking at your home. Join Don Clement and Patty B for Chew on This, Saturdays at noon on WGSO.
Come on to my house.
Hi, this is J.C. Smith. I'm not only the host of Stay Safe NOLA, but I'm also a security professional. If you're looking for answers for your security issues, please give me a call. I'll give you a complete and free security assessment covering all of your needs, including unarmed and armed security officers, mobile patrol services, remote guarding, access control, CCTVs, and the latest in security technologies. I also offer solutions for employee training to keep your employees safe during critical times in and out of the workplace. Call me now for your free assessment at 504-201-9450.
Holy cow, I just ate the best lasagna I've ever eaten in my life. You know where I ate it? Randazzo's Family Restaurant. Whether it's a po' boy, lasagna, seafood, or salads, Randazzo's is where I go to eat. Oh, by the way, on the weekends, they serve breakfast starting at 8 a.m. My favorite is their massive, tasty omelets. Randazzo's Family Restaurant. Dine in, take out, or catering. Call Randazzo's 504-456-9069. That's 504-456-9069. See their entire menu at randazzosfamilyrestaurant.com.
Join me, Mitch Gibbs, host of Breakfast with the Bayou Bengals, in our 10th season, talking LSU Tiger football every Saturday morning live from 9 to 11 at the Silver Slipper Casino in beautiful Bay St. Louis, Mississippi on the Gulf Coast. The 2024 season expectations are very high, so join me every Saturday morning live on WGSO Radio.
All right. Welcome back to the Thursday morning edition of the Jack Clegg Show here on WGSO, YouTube, and WGSO.com. And our call-in number is 504-556-9696. Before we get to our first caller, I wanted to talk about this second topic today, which, and the third topic is going to be Greg Abbott and what he's doing, which is terrific. But the second topic is a conference being held. It's called the UN, that's for United Nations, Climate Change Conference. Okay. And it's being held in Baku, Azerbaijan. And I'll bet you, not 1% of our listeners today have been to this location. But countries all over the world have sent delegates there. And what's the big issue? Well, this is fascinating. I'm reading from an article on this by AP. A draft deal unveiled Thursday morning, that's this morning, but it was written earlier today, at the UN Climate Change Conference, failed to make any progress on a central question. And this is the central question. How much money should wealthy countries provide to poorer nations that are the most vulnerable to the ravages of a climate disaster? Okay, and it goes on and on and on. And it doesn't really say much about how we fight climate change. It's all about how much money we should be giving to the small countries. And the smaller, underdeveloped countries have learned a lesson. Just demand lots of cash, more and more and more and more and more. It doesn't matter what we use it for, just get the money. Now, does that sound familiar? Does that sound familiar with lobbying groups that represent special interests here in America? It doesn't matter what you want the money for, just give us the money. All right. Reading through this article, the AP article, the elephant in the room is the lack of specific numbers that the developing countries are willing to give to us. All right. The debate over finance at this year's climate conference is exposing tensions that have been building for more than a decade. In 2009, wealthy nations set a goal of providing $100 billion a year by 2020. $100 billion a year, $100 billion. Oh my gosh. But that never took place. They didn't reach that mark until 2022. Okay. Now, again, these are not loans. These are not loans. These are giving money to these countries. Okay. And the article goes as to why. Poor nations have expressed a strong preference for grants instead of loans because they don't want to pay the money back. Wealthy countries have been reluctant to commit to exact numbers, and they have argued that China should help by contributing cash, despite its classification as a developing country by the United Nations. The PRC, the UN considers them a developing country. You really need to read this article, but let me get to the last point of it. Okay. The article talks about this disaster. Okay. They're quoting the advisor to the Bangladesh Ministry of Environment, Forest, and Climate Change. Okay. Said the discussions in Baku have real-world consequences for millions of people affected by catastrophic floods fueled by climate change. Unprecedented floods battered Bangladesh in 2 waves in August and October, killing at least, this is it, 75 people. You know how many people were killed in North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Florida due to Hurricane Helene? 230. That's 3 times as many. Now, the real point is, and I'm not against helping people who need help, okay? But until you have an answer to the question of what exactly are you going to do to make the lives of your developing country citizens better by this money, I'm not going to give you any. I looked through the article. What are they going to do? That wasn't important. It's just all about the Benjamins. How much money can they get? And what really, and as you read the article, and you read several articles about this, the developing countries are treating this like it's some kind of, what's the word? There's blackmail, and then there's what's it called? Extortion. Yes, extortion. That we're going to talk bad about your countries. We're going to talk bad about you unless you give us the money. We're going to blame all the deaths in our country on your failure to give us money. So you better give us money. This the irony here is if you listen to the same people and they talk about colonialism, how horrible that was, how horrible. But let me say this. If these countries were colonies of Western countries, what do you think would be happening now? What do you think would be happening? Those countries would take responsibility for what was going on in their countries. They would send experts down to try to figure out what's best for you. I'm reminded of one of the best comedians I've ever heard, Sam Kinison. He died way too early. But I remember I went to Houston once. I had clients in Houston, maritime clients. And one of them was a Sam Kinison fan. We went to a Sam Kinison concert. And he did his routine about, at that time, I guess it was Sally Struthers, was doing some TV commercial about giving food to these skinny little waifs in Africa. And he was saying how they did all this. And Kinnison said, I know there's just millions of dollars pouring in, and this TV star is giving her time and effort. But I got a solution. If you live where they don't have food, move to where they have food. And to me, we have worldwide migration going on. We know it. People are moving to Europe and trying to come to America. The American Biden administration, as we covered in our last episode on Tuesday, is flying hundreds of flights out with people back to those countries. I feel like I really don't know what's going on. And I feel like there's a lot of secrets. I hope the trumping exposes. Okay, is Andrew still here? Could we get Andrew online? I'm sorry, Matthew. Who's Andrew? I don't know. His brother. Matthew, do you have a brother named Andrew?
No, I do not.
You should.
Not much my mother can do about it at this point.
Well done.
So, talking about the three topics you brought up, it's just a graph. It's just an opportunity to pick our pockets.
Right.
They're using emotional blackmail.
Right.
And it'll work for some people, but I think at this point where everybody's like, yeah, how about no?
Matthew, I'm going to ask you to hold on, and I want to continue this conversation through the after the break. We'll be back in a few moments with the Jack Clegg Show.
Football season is here, and so is your game day MVP, Bougie Bologna, made with 100% smoked pork shoulder, seasoned to perfection and ready to tackle your taste buds. Try Bougie Bologna, perfect for building the ultimate sandwich stack, available in regular and spicy for those who like to bring the heat. If you're tailgating at the stadium or at home, we're the perfect addition to any party. Find us at a store near you or bougiebologna.com. Bougie Bologna, it's a game changer.
Join me, J.C. Smith, on Stay Safe NOLA, Mondays at 5 p.m. as I discuss crime and how to stay safe in the Crescent City. Stay Safe NOLA, only on WGSO 990 AM.
Chef Jamie Gwen here. Tune in for delicious conversation and let me feed your soul every Sunday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. right here on WGSO 990 AM, the community voice of the Crescent City.
Join me, BJ Rust, every Saturday night for the Something to Say radio show on WGSO 990 AM and streaming live on WGSO.com.
Broadcasting from deep within the Louisiana Purchase, beneath spacious skies, overlooking the fruited plain, and smack dab in the land of the free. The American Ground Radio program with Louis R. Abalone and Stephen Parr, where freedom grows. Listen each weeknight from 7 to 9 p.m. with Louis R. Abalone and Stephen Parr here on WGSO 990 AM.
Hi, this is Rusty from the Olive Branch Cafe. We use only the freshest ingredients, and we prepare everything from scratch 7 days a week. West Bank born, West Bank raised, West Bank proud. The Olive Branch Cafe, Marrero in Algiers.
Louisiana Radio Network, I'm Andrew Greenstein. The state Senate is slated to vote on pieces of Governor Landry's tax reform plan that made it out of the Revenue and Fiscal Affairs Committee. The biggest question, though, is regarding sales taxes. Committee Chairman Franklin Foyle says one idea is to add fewer services to the sales tax base and raise the state's sales tax to up to 5%.
I think that's a good trade-off, and I don't think most people would change their spending habits based on those small adjustments.
Democrat Jay Luno says raising sales taxes is not a guarantee that any revenue loss would be made up.
Sometimes when you raise the sales tax, it makes consumption go down. And when that happens, those taxes don't produce as much as they have in the past.
For the third year in a row, Louisiana's statewide school performance score has increased. State Superintendent Cade Brumley says it's a testament to the work of everyone involved.
The fact that we've released our third consecutive year of academic growth is a testament to the students across the state, but also the support that schools are receiving from parents and the hard work that teachers are doing.
LRN.
Entergy is celebrating a century of serving Louisiana by ensuring a brighter future for the next generation. We're strengthening 70,000 power poles to withstand stronger storms and reduce outages. We're keeping costs down to keep rates below the national average and helping attract industry to create 100,000 new jobs here. Entergy employees are committed to making Louisiana better because this is our home too. We're from Louisiana and for Louisiana. And together, we power life.
Did you and your family lose Louisiana Medicaid and need health coverage? Check this out. You may be eligible to enroll in a low-cost health plan at healthcare.gov. With the new law, 4 out of 5 customers can find a plan for $10 or less per month with financial help. Healthcare.gov offers quality plans that cover doctor visits, prescriptions, emergency care, and more. Healthcare.gov is here for you. Enroll today for coverage starting the 1st of next month. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Hey, it's Kevin Carr with your personal sneak preview invitation to join me on Sunday evening from 8 to 9 for Fat Guys at the Movies. Each week, I give you my take on the newest movies and movie news, but in a fun way. Not like those stuffy movie review snobs who take themselves way too seriously. I tell you if the new movies rock or not. Yes, it's fun for all ages with Fat Guys at the Movies. I'll see you Sunday evening at 8 on WGSO 990 AM.
Tired of placing multiple calls to multiple vendors and getting the runaround? Turn to one resource who can get it done. Sir Speedy. We provide a wide spectrum of print, signs, and marketing services, all backed by more than 5 decades of experience. So when you need that new brochure, direct marketing campaign, or signage to promote your brand, give us a call at 504-586-9812 or visit us online at sirspeedyneworleans.com. Everything you need, one resource, Sir Speedy.
FBI, open up!
Just because you legally possess a gun in the sanctity of your locked home doesn't mean that we're not going to walk into that home and check to see if you're being responsible.
Tyranny in the USA.
We warned about this years ago.
I'm Tom Coates.
I'm Michelle Godin.
We're Baldy and the Blonde.
Wednesdays at 4 on WGSO. Follow us on X at Baldy Blonde.
That's not America.
Hello, this is David Jeremiah. Join me each weekday morning at 4:30 or 5:30 a.m. for Turning Point on the community voice of the Crescent City WGSO.
Join me, Mitch Gibbs, every Monday and Friday at 4 p.m. live at Premier Nissan at 6636 Veterans Boulevard, where Metairie meets Kenner for our 15th season in the Red Zone.
Real Talk with Revolution is back. Please join us from 11 to 12 every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday right here on WGSO 990 AM and streaming live at WGSO.com.
All right, New Orleans, welcome back to the third segment of the Jack Clegg Show, the Thursday morning edition. We were talking with Andrew's brother, Matthew. Hello, Matthew, are you still there?
Hello.
Yes.
I'm here. So, question for you about the show. What's next week look like for you? I know you're going to be off Thursday. What's Tuesday look like?
A regular show. You got a topic for me?
For Tuesday, I always have topics for you, but you always pick ones that you prefer to dwell on, so we'll do that.
Well, that's why it's called the Jack Clegg Show and not the Matthew Show.
Right.
But if you have it, if you have a suggestion, you can go ahead and contact us. You have my email address. You can contact me there and let me know.
I do send you an email.
Yes.
So the thing about, I have total sympathy for countries that are poor. No, I do not want them to move to where the food is. because that's here. But then the question is, why are they poor? What is going on in those countries that is causing this poverty? And usually it has to do with the fact that they're all basically oppressed by an oligarchy that doesn't want to admit that their rule is crushing the people and causing them to be poor.
Would you go so far as to agree with me that under colonialism they had it better?
Many of them did.
Yes.
Can't say that for the Congo, but with the exception of the Congo, a lot of them did.
Yeah. And they had
Ethiopia,
someone,
not so much.
they had, look, and I don't want to say this because it sounds horrible, but there's a certain level at which a country's populace and their level of education and the way they do things, like how could you live in a country that allows 6 and 7-year-old children to work in mines? How could that be allowed in your country? And would you give that country money for climate change? If they're letting their children work underground, work in mines, to me, you just disqualified yourself from any kind of support. You got to fix yourself first. And that's the thing that really bothers me is when I look at these countries, they're not really doing a lot for their poor people. Now, the leaders
maybe
are well dressed.
Is that they're doing too much, and it's all badly. In other words, maybe it's great intentions, but it's all badly mismanaged. If somebody manages to achieve what we would consider a middle income lifestyle, they tax them back into poverty.
Sure.
In order to spread relieve poverty.
I think my personal belief, and this is what I've seen in my travels, I was not surprised at what happened to Haiti. More money has been shoveled in that direction over the past 3 decades than any other country in the Caribbean. And what happened? It didn't get to the people. It didn't get to them. So the people became lawless. And the gangs took over. And we have a country in the Caribbean, not far from America, run by gangs. Gangs.
Yes.
The president
And
had
they
to
want you to come
flee.
by for dinner.
Right. So, yeah, we're go ahead.
The other topic was we were talking about the 10 Commandments bill, and everybody was up in arms about whether that was a violation of the Establishment Clause.
Sure.
Well, Texas, this is according to Six Hexenhammer, he has the article. Texas looked at that and says, hold my beer, or in that case, hold my Steiner. They had a bill that mandates the teaching of the Bible in all public schools.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah.
So now it hasn't passed through the Texas House Senate yet. We'll see what happens with that.
Right.
But these challenges to the Establishment Clause, I think, are necessary. Because I don't think the founders had in their mind that just because they weren't going to establish Christianity as the state religion, that we were going to give Christianity and the worship of Baal the same consideration.
Well, right.
Now, but maybe they should have been more explicit about that. Maybe they should have been more explicit about the Second Amendment, saying that yes, civilians can own machine guns.
Well, okay. I'm an Eighth Amendment fan. All the amendments, I think that was correct. We shouldn't have a state-sponsored religion. All right. What are these laws trying to do? Established religion. Okay. What are these laws trying to do? They're not trying to establish a religion. They're trying to improve. No, I think they're trying to improve the culture, whether it be Christian or whatever. Improve it so we have more law-abiding citizens. We have less drug addiction. We have less gambling addiction. We have less of the bad things that are there. And who could dispute that? Nobody. But the problem is our lawmakers give it about 30 seconds of thought and say, well, the only place where you could ever teach culture, the only way you could do that is the 10 Commandments. No, that's wrong. That is completely and utterly wrong. The 10 Commandments are not the only way. And by virtue of doing it, having the 10 Commandments there, you are inviting the attack, which is going to end up you have nothing. That's my view. That's my view.
Might be right, but you might be right, but I would say that we are basically trying to preserve a Christian culture as much as possible, and these lawmakers feel that it is time that we put the Christian culture at the center of the discussion, not necessarily to make other people feel bad, but just to let them know this country was founded as a Christian nation.
Well, my belief is that our cultural deficiencies would be assisted by any cultural improvements. So once you focus on Christian, then you come so close to the Establishment Clause that you're going to get challenged. My view
I agree.
Is take parts of various cultures, which are some are terrific. Many of them say honor thy father and thy mother. Okay, which is
and some
a
of them
more
say
cultural.
You can marry a 6-year-old.
Well, of course, and that's not the one that we would want to adopt, unless I'm talking to P. Diddy. Anyway, all right, I got to go because I got other callers. Great point. And send me a message about Tuesday. Thanks for calling. This is Kev.
Hey, what's going on, man?
How are you, Kev? Where are you calling from, buddy?
Chalmette.
All right, outstanding. What do you got today?
So I wanted to mention about the this bill with the 10 Commandments and the Bible in school.
Sure.
You know, we came hand's breadth close to actually implementing a religious law in this country in the past. Are you aware of this?
Oh, we have been trying to do it since the 1800s, of course. Yes.
Exactly. The late 19th century, like 1890s, middle 1890s.
Sure.
There was a bill that was debated over whether or not to recognize Sunday as the official day of worship in this country at the highest level.
Sure.
And curiously, the Christian denomination in this country that is most fervent and noted for defending religious liberty opposed it, and is the reason why we don't have it today. Because the argument was, well, hold on a minute. What's to stop people from going beyond that?
Sure.
If they're going to make Sunday, because remember, Judaism recognizes
It's Saturday.
Sabbath,
Yes, right.
and
Right.
Islam recognizes Friday.
Yes.
So you're now right away, you're trampling on the rights of people who represent hundreds of millions in religion
Right.
around the world. Not that they have rights, but people in this country are representative of those.
Well, and I think it's fair to say that our founding fathers did not want one state religion. It's clear. They wrote the document. It says it. And so I'm with you, Kevin. The Louisiana law could have been put in place with 4 commandments from the 10 Commandments, with several, and the commandments are really rules to live by. They could have several rules to live by from the Jewish faith, from the Muslim faith, all of them at their choice. They could choose which ones they were, post them in the schools, and that would achieve what they wanted to achieve. And that is that little kids are going to learn how to, hopefully in the future, because they're not learning it now, but they're going to learn how to read and write and add and subtract and divide and multiply. And by the way, what's that thing on the teacher? What's that sign on the wall? It's telling us how we should live. And that seems like an easy way. And why didn't we do that?
Can I say one more thing?
Go ahead, Kev. Go ahead.
Sure. So don't get me wrong. I am a staunch Christian.
Mm-hmm.
And I consider myself to be somewhat of an apologist for the faith I follow.
Sure.
And the Ten Commandments can be separated into the first 4 and the last 6. The last 6 dictate how we relate to our neighbor.
Kev, I got 10 seconds before I got to take a break. Will you hold on and finish that thought after the break? I'm sorry I have to do this, but I'm not in control of this. All right. We'll be back in a minute with the Jack Clegg Show, WGSO.
Hey folks, it's Jeff Cruier. I've been with WGSO for 17 years as host and now president and general manager. WGSO is a community-based radio station, a nonprofit, locally operated. We believe in cultivating local talent and emphasizing local programs. If you have an interest in hosting your own program, then we have some prime spots available for you. Take advantage of this great offer. Email me at jeff@wgso.com or call me at 504-669-6076. Come fulfill your radio dreams at WGSO.
Hi, I'm William Wallace. You can hear me live on Tuesday nights at 5 o'clock here on WGSO, or see what I have to say on Facebook at William Wallace for America.
Hi, this is Susan Berniker bringing you a new show, Health Connections, every Wednesday afternoon at 5 p.m. when we explore health from doctors, researchers, scientists, naturopaths, pharmacists, authors, fitness, and more. You'll be able to call in and ask your own health questions. So join me, Susan Berniker, every Wednesday at 5 p.m. right here on WGSO 990 AM with Health Connections.
I'm pet trendologist Charlotte Reed. Listen to the Pet Buzz airing every Saturday at 6 p.m. on WGSO 990 AM, the community voice of the Crescent City.
This year, the Saints will probably not go marching in, but Trump will, and the best place to keep up with the Fats domino-sized effort to make America great again is the Mike Church Show. Live, MAGA radio, the way it should be, weekday mornings at 6.
Howdy, everybody. This is Jackie Gumbo, inviting you to join me each and every Sunday from 5 to 6 p.m. for Uncle Jackie's Gumbo. A little bit of this and a whole lot of that each and every Sunday from 5 to 6 p.m. only on WGSO 990 AM New Orleans or WGSO.com. Bring your gumbo, baby. We're going to have us a blast.
Big Easy Pet Shop and Rescue is a nonprofit volunteer-run rescue. We provide adoption services and care for homeless animals across the New Orleans metro area. We also offer pet supplies and grooming services at our downtown and Marigny locations. The shops are located at 839 Spain Street and 513 Dumaine Street and are open from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. weekdays and noon to 6 on Saturdays, noon to 5 on Sundays. We can be found on the web at BigEasyPetShop.com. Support local animals in need by shopping and adopting with Big Easy Animal Rescue.
Hi, this is Kate Delaney from America Tonight. The show kicks on at midnight, and I'm loving the overwhelming support in New Orleans. What a group of fantastic listeners here on WGSO 990 AM. Join me every morning to catch up on what I call the buzz in your backyard and mine. You'll hear some of the most interesting people on the planet from the world of business, politics, sports, and, well, just intriguing people with a story to tell. If you're around, give us a call. Don't worry, I'll spit out the number plenty of times on the air. Let's agree to meet at midnight right here on WGSO 990 AM in New Orleans.
All right, New Orleans. Welcome back to the fourth and, sadly, the final segment of the Jack Clegg Show today on Thursday. We were talking to one of our reporters out in the field in Chalmette. Kev, how you doing, Kev? Go ahead and finish your point.
Yeah, we were talking about the Ten Commandments and why they, though I'm a staunch Christian, why they shouldn't be in the schools.
Sure.
In the public, arena. So the Ten Commandments are pretty much broken up into the first 4 determining how you worship God, and the last 6 determining how you relate to your neighbor.
Yeah.
The first 4, how you love God, and the last 6, how you love your neighbor. Now, there's nothing wrong with government, secular government, implementing laws or even teaching the last 6 of the Ten Commandments, because all faiths can recognize the last 6.
That is correct.
Don't kill, don't steal, don't lie, etc.
Yeah.
But the first four, especially the fourth commandment,
Yeah.
it is the one that makes the Ten Commandments Christianity.
They make them uniquely Christian. That is correct. That is
You see,
correct.
that fourth commandment is the one that says, who owns it? Without that fourth commandment, I could say they're my commandments. You could say these are Jack's commandments. Hitler could say these are Hitler's commandments.
Right.
But the fourth commandment says, remember the Sabbath, to keep it holy, 6 days you work, the seventh day you rest, because, now here it is, because in 6 days the Lord made the heaven and earth and sea and all that in them is, and rested on the seventh day, wherefore he blessed it.
Sure.
And you see that right there contains a seal. Now, any seal of any leader contains three things: the name of the leader, the title of the leader, and the territory.
That's the argument. Yes, yes, yes. I understand.
And so that Sabbath commandment says, because in 6 days the Lord, that's his name, made, he's a creator, heaven, earth, and sea, and all in them. There's his territory. And so that's why we can't allow
an establishment. That's correct.
To be established.
But the goal, I don't think the goal was an establishment. I don't think it was. I think it was a cultural change. It was, okay, you can fly pride flags in my classroom. Let's balance it off with some other kind of things that we would want to have. And my point on this, and I think you concur, is you could have taken principles from other religions or philosophies or others and make those rules and put them up there as talking points or things to discuss. Kev, hope you call again. I got to run to another caller.
Thanks, Jack.
Thanks a lot, buddy. All right, let's see. Rusty. Rusty, how are you today, buddy?
Oh, a little out of breath, but okay. I didn't really want to talk about the religious thing, but I wanted to throw.
Sure, go ahead.
Before I get to the main reason I call, if I can get there, you know, you can't have all these people coming from all over the world, bringing their cultures here, and expecting each one to have the same respect. You can respect me as an individual. You, Jack, me, Patty, Matthew, Kevin. We can respect them as individuals. But if your country wants to have some cohesiveness, you can't be giving them different things that is going to cause chaos in the country. And we're doing that. We're adding so many different cultures to our country, and we're expecting harmony. It's foolishness. You can't do it. Some relationships, marriages don't work out because there's not a lot of harmony. How are you going to have harmony with people whose religion tells them that you're an infidel and you deserve to die because you don't agree with their beliefs? You have to be realistic here. But I'd like to get to the main point, though.
Go ahead.
Why I called. Joe Biden had this climate change thing you mentioned.
Yeah.
And he said the biggest threat we have in our world today is climate change. And this is why this guy and his pals are getting kicked out of office.
You mean this is why they're getting trumped?
Absolutely.
All right.
They're getting Trump. And that's why Trump's coming in to put America first.
Right.
You were talking about giving all this money to other countries. We're taking in all their people. Why should we give them money? They're losing their people to us. These people are connivers. They're snakes.
Yeah.
And so on. And they never look behind why these countries are so impoverished. Maybe because there's a lack of Christianity. I don't want to be too.
I don't think we have to. We don't even have to enter into religious discussion.
Yeah,
we have small countries.
We know something's wrong.
Right.
Something's wrong with these cultures that are not taking care of their own. That they have to come here.
I couldn't agree with you more. I couldn't agree with you more. And what we have now with an opportunity with Trump for 4 years, and we saw what he did in from 16 to 2020. Now he's got 4 more years, and I hope he's judicious about the things he picks to do, and sets a precedent for the way things are going to go when he's gone, because he's going to be gone as soon as he's here, and hopefully Vance will pick it up and do the same. And these kind of changes, I don't look at Trump as a religious zealot. I don't look at Vance as a religious zealot. I think
No.
anybody talking about that is absolutely wrong.
No.
Tuesday, remind me if I don't remember. I'm
Okay.
giving you a job. You have an
All right.
obligation to every listener in this area. It's yours. Remind me to talk about what Governor Abbott just
I wanted
did
to hear
today.
that. I wanted to hear that, but I said I better get in before it's too late.
Well, I don't have time because we talked about those other things, and they're important too. But what Governor Abbott did in Texas shows that guy. He was the first one to send immigrants to New York City. Remember, in buses?
Yes.
And that had a tremendous impact. If they'd have kept them all quiet down in Texas, the rest of the country wouldn't have known about it. That would have been their problem. His sending them to New York, I believe, was a turning point in the reason why the Biden administration failed. They couldn't explain it even to people in New York. Hey, how come these people are staying at the Roosevelt Hotel and you're giving them debit cards for free stuff?
Yeah.
So he did that. What he just did, which we're going to talk about Tuesday, involves the People's Republic of China and Chinese police stations all over the country.
Yes.
So we're going to talk about that on Tuesday. You can do the
I'm gonna do
research
my
on it
best.
and find it. It's fascinating stuff.
I'll do my best to remind you.
All right, Rusty, we'll talk to you
Thank you,
Tuesday. Okay, we
Thank
got a few moments left, or we don't. We're running out of time. We need more time. That's all. I wish I could invent it, but we'll get to some other things Tuesday on the Jack Clegg Show. We'll see you then.
Hi, I'm Huck.
And this is Dave.
Please join us